This is Talk is Sheep, a podcast by the Wild Sheep Society of British Columbia. Come along as we take conversations that matter to you into the high alpine.
Two degrees in Prince George. Lovely day.
It is. It's coming up end of the first week of February when we're recording this. We had probably a foot of snow over the last couple of days, -7 last night. Wake up to +2 this morning. Gotta love this time of year. It's a little
I'm gonna go cut my grass this afternoon.
You can go to hell. You can go to hell.
So episode 64, Jules McQueen, president of Carbon TV.
What a riot.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
And really interesting to hear her evolution, right? Like where she began, very humble beginnings, no real ties to the hunting community, well, maybe not so much the outdoors, but the hunting community, and then just to where she is today, running a network with how many different shows did she say they have on there? Different.
Oh, good Lord.
250, I think she said. There
something like that.
Hundreds,
something
right?
Nuts, something nuts. It's crazy though. Like I've used Carbon TV for 6-8 months now. It's free. All you need to do is make an email account, and it's all streaming, and the content on there is just nuts. Like our friend Laura's on there, Laura Zara with Decivilized, and Skullbound Chronicles. We've had Jana Waller on, and now what's that other one that I know? Oh yeah, Bree from Wilderness to Table. She's going to kill me for saying that, but so there's some great shows on there, and just a great experience to get to chat with Jules.
Well, and the interesting thing Julie points out is that it's a very broad-based network. It's not just exclusively hunting stuff. So there's really good content. They're branching in a little bit into different niche markets like aviation, for example, she mentioned. So it's really interesting to hear that evolution. And, obviously they're going to be a behemoth of an organization when they have that much content, right? And it's all centric around that outdoor space, right? So very cool. On the society end of things, just 3 things to remind our listeners. Our Wild Sheep raffles, we still have some tickets left there. We have a cool membership drive on. And so if you're thinking about joining the society, it's a good time to do now. So give that some thought.
We always have the most kick-ass things for our members, eh? Like what are the trips this year? What's up for grabs this time?
So it's a very cool sturgeon fishing trip. It's one day on the Fraser River. You're going to get a chance to hook into a 10, 11-foot monster, 100-year-old sturgeon. That's for 4 people, one-day trip. Just awesome first prize. Have
you ever had a chance to sturgeon fish?
I have, yeah. My dad took me out, and it was I think we caught about 10 fish on the day, and it was so my dad was there. He was he was getting tired and stuff, so his arms were getting sore, and then there was only 3 of us on the boat, and then my other buddy had a sore back, so I literally landed about 12 sturgeon that day. I think the biggest one was about 9 feet, so just a great day
I went a few years ago. I bought a trip at an auction up here, and took a couple of buddies, and we all split it, and we'd never sturgeon fished before, and holy crap. Like they set the hook, and then the guide hands you the rod, and it's like, all right, hang on. And you're like, okay, yeah, whatever. And it's power you have not felt. Like, holy crap. And they jump. Like you get these 7, 8 foot, 9 foot fish coming clear out of the water. It's a fight you've never experienced. Like it's unreal. And I would go over and over and over again. So that's a hell of a first prize.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. And then second prize is Frontiersman Gear has given us a beautiful Ridgeline Keeper knife. It's a brand new line, and there's custom knife, gorgeous prize package there. And then, as you said, your favorite one's the swag package from the Society is third place, but with a Claymore headlamp. And this is all underwritten by Wood Wheaton Super Center. They're bringing that to us. So thank you to Wood Wheaton for supporting our initiatives and the Wild Sheep Society BC.
Yeah, it's a hell of a prize package. We got our WSR, and yeah, it's we're good. Oh, Salute to Conservation. That's coming up soon too.
So March 12th, we have our Wild Sheep Salute to Conservation. It's going to be online. So this is replacing our Kamloops event. Unfortunately, provincial restrictions have required us to do that. But we do have a great weekend planned. It's a one-day event on March the 12th. You can go over to their website, go to wildsheepsociety.com, click on the icon there for Salute to Conservation. It's right in the very middle. You'll see it, and get signed up. Registration's free, but if you want to upgrade, there's more enhanced viewing opportunities. We've teamed up with the Hunting Film Tour, so some really great content there. We've got some really cool giveaways, some offers, some raffles, live and timed auction. It's actually going to be a great event. And then we're topping off the night with Brews and Bighorns. Did I get it right? I always say it incorrectly, but our good friend.
You got it backwards.
Bighorns and Brews. Yeah, right. I'm putting the beer first. Sorry.
Which you should do. Right. Yeah. Always put the beer first.
Yeah, so our good friend Nolan Osborne from over at the Journal of Mountain Hunting Beyond the Kill is going to be there with some buddies, and we're going to have a webinar and sit around some interactive chat just about wild sheep, just to have a great time. So that'll cap off the evening. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Get on our website and get registered today. So make
sure you got to hit that subscribe button. You got to make sure that you always tell them to subscribe and follow us. We hit number 4 a couple of weeks ago, and we're staying in the top 10 because of people downloading and staying in touch with us. And we truly appreciate that. The more we get followed and subscribed to, the more we can dump out great content for you. So we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. Thanks to our listeners, and thanks for sharing it out there. We do have a likes and shares contest going on right now, so you can check that out on social media as well. And we also have we have started a new Talk is Sheep page on Instagram. So head over to Instagram and look us up, Talk is Sheep, and you'll see the latest content and what's coming up. And we try and share a little bit of insight here and there and stuff too. So thanks again, everyone, for helping us do what we do. So this is a fantastic listen. Julie is awesome. She's just so much energy, so much positivity. Right away, you go, wow, this person is going places. She's taking Carbon TV to the next level, and it's just a real pleasure to have Julie on the show. Episode 64, Julie McQueen, Carbon TV. Enjoy.
Across Canada and throughout the world, if you come across a campfire in the woods, on a mountaintop, or next to a river, you'll find warm company and friendly people gathered around. Regardless of your lifestyle or place you call home, we invite you to learn more about what it means to be a hunter in the modern era. If you love the outdoors, care about where your food comes from, and are concerned for the future of wildlife and the environments that they need to survive, pull up a seat. We have a story to tell. Welcome to our campfire.
Good. I guess it's afternoon for you, Julie. Thanks for coming and seeing us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. I never know if it's morning or afternoon these days. It's all very confusing.
Yeah, it is a Friday, so that's there's a light at the end of the rainbow that that we're at the end of the tunnel. I guess it is that we're coming up in the weekend, so that's good.
Yeah, happy Friday.
Awesome. So. Well, so much to talk about, and we've wanted you on the show for a long time, so we're really excited to have you here. And I guess for our listeners, let's get to know you a little bit. Where did you come from? How did you get where you are today? And I've noticed it's a very interesting path, and you've obviously got a long history in the the communication side of the world. But love to hear about it and the tie-in with the hunting community. So I guess let's just start from the beginning, where you came from, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I come from Oklahoma. A lot of people don't know that. Because I've lived everywhere since then. And, I grew up in Oklahoma, small town, Indian reservation, really grassroots, right? I mean, basic childhood, but I got out of there fast. I exited and wanted to go see the world as quickly as I could. So I graduated high school early. And I bailed, and I've lived in so many different beautiful places, and I've worked overseas, and, I kind of had that existence until I was around 18-ish, I want to say, give or take, around 18. But I was not from a hunting family. So hunting was not a part of a conversation we ever had. It was never something that was introduced to me. And around 18, I had moved to Missouri. And I don't know what exactly sparked it, if I saw a photo, if I, kind of heard someone talking, but hunting became a conversation. And that's when I started going to the bookstore and Barnes and Noble in Springfield, Missouri. It's still there. And, I would sit in the coffee shop and read the books and magazines about hunting so I didn't have to pay for them and, try to understand what this was. And at that time, you think of an 18 or 19-year-old, no one had explained anything to me as far as, oh, did you know there's different types of deer? Or these are the states where elk live. So it was all kind of this new big world in front of me. And I'm wondering why no one had ever brought this up to me before. So I just began really diving in and becoming obsessed with, oh, I didn't realize that we could go get our own meat from the field. I didn't know that you could deer hunt. That wasn't something that was ever discussed. So I went to my hunter safety course and I began hunting at that time. And it wasn't long after that I entered the industry. I was in my early 20s. I was around 20 when I finally started finding a way to work into the outdoor space.
Very cool. So I want to jump into the outdoor space, but before we get there, what was the attraction to hunting? Like, at 18, all of a sudden there's this epiphany. Is it like about, like the food source, or was it about the interest in the animals? Was it the outdoors? What was the main draw there? For a lot of us, it's probably a multitude of things, but kind of what really caught you with that?
Yeah. So I think that the common answer from a lot of people would be, oh, I wanted to get my own food. That seems to be a very, nice, easy way of introducing that. But for me, I honestly believe that we have inherent knowledge from our ancestors. I think that genetically, thoughts, feelings, emotions, it's passed down genetically. So something inside of me was sparked. It wasn't because, oh, I want to go fill my freezer. It was, what is this thing no one told me about? And I didn't know I had the right to do it. So for me, it was more just kind of that curiosity, a natural curiosity. And especially because not a lot of other women or females were doing that at the time openly. Maybe they were, but we didn't have social media back then, so it wasn't like I was introduced to a lot of other females who also had the same passion. I just knew that something inside of me wanted to learn about it, and I was naturally curious. And of course, the after effect was a freezer full of wild game. But initially, what sparked it was just this curiosity.
Very cool. So now you talk about that evolution at 18, sort of coming to the outdoor space and this interest in hunting and harvesting. And you did all this research. So, I find it interesting. A lot of women I talk to, even today, there's all these barriers to entry, right? Like, it's hard to find a hunting companion. It's a male dominated, pursuit, or traditionally has been, as we know, that's changing quickly. But, so how was that for you? And obviously there was the research component and the library you talked about, but what else were you doing? Did you just show up for your hunter safety course and say, I'm doing this, or how did that look for you?
Yeah, I went to hunter safety. There was some property locally that was available. I asked permission. I had to borrow a rifle. I had a shotgun. I didn't have a rifle. And so by reading all those books, I figured out you need a rifle for deer season. But the thing that no one told me, because I went deer hunting. I went by myself and didn't know tree stands were a thing. So I just kind of wedged up between a couple of trees on this ridge and had permission to shoot whatever came by. But the thing nobody told me was the size of the animal and the emotion that comes with that. Yeah. So obviously I became very emotional. I shot the first deer that walked by. To this day, it's the oldest whitetail I've ever shot. He was just this old, no one had ever seen him before. He was huge and beautiful and amazing. But for me, that was a very emotional thing. I'd never seen an animal die before. I walked up to him and then I'm going, oh, wait. I can't pick this up. How am I going to get this in my vehicle? I have to call for backup. And no one in the books or magazines had talked about, how to field dress an animal, or do you go to the taxidermist or the processor first? No one had ever really discuss those details. They were just talking about how great hunting is.
Hmm.
So it was a trial and error. I had to learn a lot, made some mistakes. But it was just this knowledge, just this like, oh, yes, no, this is something that I really love.
Yeah, that's the one thing I found that they can't really teach you, and your mentors can't teach you, is the emotion that comes with the pull of the trigger. You
Yeah.
come from up here to all the way down at the bottom and everything in between.
Yeah.
As you see the animal, you pull the trigger, you walk up to it. It's the whole range of emotions that you feel, and that's something you just have to experience, and it happens every time for me.
Every time, even turkeys or, any small game, I still have that same emotion to this day, and I hope it never goes away. It's a beautiful thing. And
Exactly.
back then it was terrifying, but it turned into my life's passion.
That's so cool. So now, with regards to that experience, you you got a rifle, and just rocked up and just on your own. Like, you weren't out there. You had in theory, no mentor really. You probably talked to people, but I can't imagine that. Like, I killed my first deer at 14. My dad was there. He was by my side, and it was like, and I made a million mistakes even with him yelling at me the whole time. I can't imagine being out there at a young person doing, and not even growing up in that environment. Be one thing if you were around it in outfitting industry or I don't know, whatever, but that's phenomenal that you could pull that off. And it just goes to show you, if there's a will, you can do it, right?
Absolutely. And, the thing that it has changed in my life is that now I have a passion for other young people who don't come from hunting families. And, if somebody in my early childhood would have said, hey, do you want to, go turkey hunting, or something to kind of even let me know that was an option, it would have changed the course of my life. So now I work with organizations that, we try to make sure every other kid kind of has that opportunity. So it's that silver lining, but everything happens for a reason. And at that time I was looking for, something in life, and it just happened to be something not any other women were doing. So I thought, okay, well, if this is something I really, really love and there's an opportunity, I might as well see if I can work inside of an industry like this.
Very cool. So now, with regards to that mentorship piece, you didn't have anybody. And one of the things I hear often is for women in particular, there's, fish and game clubs, like, oh, go join your local fish and game club, or go join the Wild Sheep Society BC, for instance. But the issue is it's filled with old white guys. And it's like really intimidating, especially for maybe a young female or a young woman. So, what can we do better in the industry? Like, and the programs that you're involved in, like outdoor mentors, and that's a fantastic. So how do we do a better job of getting, I guess, other people more involved in the industry or in our pursuits, I guess?
I feel like that's a really common question. And what I love is that I already feel like over the past 10 years, we have been doing a lot. It's almost like we started asking that question so many years ago that people took action. And, I'm one of the lucky ones that's been here long enough to see it really kind of come to fruition. So many of the conservation organizations that I've worked with over the years, early on saw they were asking the same question, and they developed, Jake's program, or, Outdoor Mentors is a good one. I'm on their board of directors. Pass it on. Outdoor Mentors is, it's just wonderful. It kind of, is the way for youth who, let's say there's a high school trap shooting team, which is a sport. And they already have access to a shotgun and, the knowledge and how to, gun safety. But now let's connect them to another potential lifelong, hobby, or something they might fall in love with. So we provide a way for them to now have a piece of property to go pheasant hunting or whitetail hunting. And it's really just kind of like, okay, the first step has been taken. They understand firearms. They understand firearm safety. Let's connect the dots. And, the Outdoor Mentors gets hundreds of kids every year into the outdoors, and they really focus on retention. So sure, take them one time, but you want them to come back. You want to make it a good experience and to educate them while it's happening. And then also, next step, get the parents involved. Make sure that the parents feel comfortable with it and that they're encouraging this in their children. So, like I said, I'm very fortunate because over the past 15 years in this industry, I've seen, youth programs aimed towards women, really moving in the right directions. But to answer your question, I think that the answer to continue that momentum is, number one, education. A lot of people feel very insecure in that moment, like, oh gosh, I'm a woman who, like, I want to do this, but I don't know a whole lot about it. So there are educational programs. Some of them are free. Some of them, it's groups of women who get together, or groups of people who have children who want to know about the outdoors. And, people can say whatever they want about social media and the internet, but what a fabulous resource to find anything you're looking for, any group of people to connect with. And when it's used in the right way, it changes lives. So I see this as we're already on the right path, and so many great organizations are doing the right things. It's just making sure that that information is available to everyone who's looking for it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff there. And, like industry wide, we, in BC here in particular, we kind of struggle with social license for hunters and I think that, these mentorship programs, these retention recruitment, these mentorship programs are really important because it's changing hearts and minds, right? We're bringing the next generation up with this acceptance of, what we do, and that it's okay to be out there, and, sustainability and our conservation work, and to be living off the land effectively. Right. So I guess that's one of the things. And, you talk about, I've read in some of your, some of the things that you've put out there about your hunter heritage or whatever, making sure that that's there for future generations. So, I guess, we talked a little bit about mentorship, and hunter heritage is a little bit different, I guess, in terms of, that legacy and making sure that hunters will still be able to hunt in 100 years from now, and that, the mainstream hasn't banned it somehow. How do we do a better job of that? How can we keep that legacy going, that hunter heritage mindset going, Julie, in your mind?
Right. I think that supporting each other as a community is step number one. I always try to avoid any type of negative energy or negative conversations. Anyone who knows me personally, if it's bad, just stay away. I don't want any access to the negative stuff I've worked too hard to have a great, positive life. So I see a lot of, hunters or, people who love the outdoors who have a disagreement, and then they take it very public, and it becomes this conversation where we're not having these conversations on a mature level and really finding a resolution, solving the problem instead of just talking more about the problem. And it's just like any relationship. If there's a problem, you talk about it, and a healthy relationship will resolve the issue. A toxic one will just make a bigger issue. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a little bit of toxicity sometimes because people do have a voice and they do have the freedom to say what they would like to say. But I think that if we're looking at, the forward, like the heritage and the young people coming up, the best thing we can do is to set a good example and to put ourselves out there in the right way where they feel comfortable having those conversations. How is a young person going to feel comfortable speaking their mind or asking questions if they feel like they'll be attacked for it? And I think that publicly a lot of people could just equate this to their home life as well. Everything is about relationships. And if a young person feels uncomfortable asking, hey, what do you feel about this, the wolf situation? What do you feel about, this situation? If they get attacked for it, they're not going to ask again, or they're going to form their own opinion and not want to take in what other people think. So opening the doors for good, healthy communication is very crucial, without attacking people for having a different opinion.
Yeah.
We're all going to think a little bit differently. We're all from different backgrounds. But the heritage side of it, making sure that young people feel not only safe in asking and understanding, but that they have the opportunity to make a difference. And, to really, step up and say, hey, I have a voice and this is what I think. And I would love, to put it out there. It's the beauty of freedom of speech and, the beauty of staying away from censorship, which in my line of work, we have a censorship talk. I have at least 5 censorship conversations every day, but giving people the opportunity to put their stories out there to help other people connect with them is crucial.
Yeah. Too often people, they listen to respond versus listen to understand. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I find a lot of the arguments come from online is somebody, for example, will say, oh, we need to go to point management on deer. And all of a sudden somebody will just fly at them instead of listening to why they feel that way and then having a rational decision. And
Right.
same sort of thing is you see it everywhere, right? And you're exactly right. We need to be more welcoming and allow other people to have an opinion and then have an intelligent debate and come to a rational, you don't have to necessarily agree, but a rational conclusion, right? And yeah.
I feel like
crazy.
there's one thing that could solve a lot of that problem. It's not like anything I say is going to make everyone change their personal behavior in their life, but anytime we're listening to a conversation that doesn't align with ours, and when our brain starts thinking, oh, but this, and we start already coming up with our response based on, instead of listening, as you notice that happening, if you ask one more question, right? Instead of responding with a statement or responding with your opinion, if you find one more question you can ask to get a little more information from this person, just so that you actually let them know you're trying to understand where they're coming from, but also so you do understand where they're coming from. I think that would be a really healthy practice when people are having these conversations about hunting or our rights or regulations or, different laws that are, going through legislation. I think that it would be a healthy thing for people just to understand basic communication as adults.
Yeah, I think we could all do a better job, or a lot of people could, and on every level, and right at the very top of the nation too, right? Our lawmakers, like you said, if there was more seek to understand and working together. And yeah, we talk this inverse curve of where we've come to as a society, that there's these two polar opposites and we're not meeting in the middle that well. So I think, yeah, that's a very good point for sure. Mm-hmm. We could talk about that the whole podcast, but I want to transition a little bit, if we could, Julie, and just talk a little bit about how you stepped into the communications world. So you're writing. You said you came to hunting at around that 18-year-old mark, and then let's talk now how you got involved in the outdoor industry as a writer, as a communicator, and touch on that a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I worked from the bottom up, just like it should be. I definitely had to work really hard to. Sorry, hold on. They're about to play a ping pong game outside of my office. Guys, no. Sorry about that. It's a really fun office. Hold on. Can you hold on one second?
Yeah, all good.
I'm going to work at Carbon TV. I'm going to be setting my.
No
I'll go clean the floors. I don't care. I'll do it.
No kidding. I want to do this. This is great. We're not editing this part out either. This is great.
And
so
actually,
I have a table right outside of my office, and people sometimes in the middle of their meetings come over and I actually, sorry, it's a fun little side note. It's a very fun office. People come over and they'll have conversations over a ping pong game, which I find very healthy. But right now is not a great time for them.
It's too distracting.
We just want to know if you've got any openings. That sounds like an awesome place to work.
Absolutely. We have tons of space here. Come on over. Sorry. So, okay, but hold on. Tell me one more time. What was I saying before the ping pong game started?
So your transition into the communications world and how you got involved with that.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So, back in the day, for those who weren't, in this industry back then, okay, we didn't have social media and we were using very large video cameras, and everyone wanted to have a TV show. Realtree was really big at the time. Everyone wanted to film their hunts. And this is like, the peak of everything with outdoor content. And I obviously started hunting, 18, 20 years old, found myself really successful. I was really focusing on it. And since there was no other way to get in touch with them, I was reaching out to companies saying, hey, I feel like I can add value. What can I do to be a part of what you're doing? How can I work with you? Small level, I don't care what it is. I just want to be involved. I still have the original letter that I got in the mail 20 years ago from Scentlock, who I still love. I mean, I talked to him a few weeks ago. They sent me a letter signed by their president. And it says, we would love to invite you to be promotional staff at store openings. We know you love the product. Any photos that you take in the field, we would love to, be able to use them. So I started working with them as promotional staff. And I would show up for free to store openings and talk about the clothing and say how much I like what I was using. And I would have my 4x6 photos I would bring with me to show that I was actually using it in the field. I worked with Muzzy broadheads in the same way and was just really using their products and thinking, how do I connect myself with these companies that are awesome, that I just someday want to work with? So I went from that to filming hunts, and I got behind the camera for people for free. And just, I would, whitetail hunt, I would freeze and sit in the stand and film on this huge camera, and then just not even have anything to do with it afterwards. They did all the editing. It would be a TV show, and I would donate my time and make connections and network and talk to people and really kind of think, okay, this is my passion. This is what I want to do. And then I slowly started getting in front of the camera a little bit more after a while, which wasn't easy for me. I'm very much an introvert, so that was difficult. But then I started a production company in Nashville. We had a big production company for about 8 years. We were producing outdoor TV shows, commercials, interstitials, product review videos. We were filming other people's TV show pilots to help them get on channels. And so I had to learn production. So I became executive producer, line producer, which is backing into budgets. And I handled everything for these big contracts that were anything that happened before the hunt took place. So I would get filming permits and, manage everything that happened up till then. And then we had a bunch of editors who would obviously edit the content. And through that work also, networking, meeting the right people, having good conversations, surrounding myself with just wonderful people. So that was kind of my step into it. I had 3 different TV shows over the course of, a few years, all successful. They did really well. And then I brought my content from the network. I jumped ship and came over to digital distribution back around probably 2015, somewhere around there, which was, that was life-changing.
Yeah. So, you've kind of done it all, right? You've gone through, like you said, right from the ground up, and now, today, running Carbon TV. So how's that changed and that evolution, like with you in that role? Are you making managerial decisions now? Like, I know you're heavy on the operations end of things, but you're also still you're still in front of the screen too. So what is a normal day other than the ping pong? Actually, let's talk ping pong.
The ping pong table, big deal here.
Let's talk about what that looks like for you in your current role.
Yeah. So actually, I did not work for Carbon TV. I was living in Montana with Jana, just doing my own thing, contracting, doing different work. And I did a screen test for Outdoor Weekly. So Carbon TV created this show. It's I don't even own Outdoor. This is not my show. It's Carbon TV's show. They came up with the first outdoor news program, and I did a screen test. They put me on camera, and apparently I did okay because they offered me the job as the host of this show. And it was a while after that. I was at SHOT Show, I think. Yeah, SHOT Show. And, they asked what I was doing, and I said, well, I'm a business consultant. I do a lot of different things on that side and have a background in production and marketing, obviously. So I interviewed for just kind of a consulting position with Carbon. They were going through some changes. So Carbon TV used to be a part of Carbon Media Group, which was acquired in 2017. They pulled Carbon TV out of the acquisition, and that's when I came in and took over operations. I sat and looked over everything they were doing. It's a fabulous business, but there were a few things that needed to change. So I took over as the president of the company 6 months later, after not even working here. I was just kind of helping out. And since then, the company has been incredible. I've never seen anything like it. It was already positioned to be something incredible and spectacular. It just needed the right path. So we changed the business model a little bit. I cleaned house, I looked through all the content, which took a very long time, cleared out the stuff that I didn't believe in. And, personally, myself, like calling people and saying, this isn't a good fit anymore. We're moving in a different direction. So I pulled a bunch of contracts, rebuilt the team, hired a bunch of new people who are way smarter than I am. And here we are years later, and I'm still the president, and we have a bigger team, and our traffic is amazing. It's a very, very large network. We have over 250 different shows that air with us right now. And we are all encompassing of the outdoors. So we don't focus just on hunting. We don't just do fishing. We do anything for everyone who loves the outdoors. So if that's agriculture, survival, aviation, DIY, farming, pretty much anything. Outdoor Weekly is amazing. We're in our 4th season right now. I still do host that show, even though I also run the company. But it's fun for me. It's good for me to keep my roots, on the TV side of it and be on camera. But it's more just kind of like a night job. I have fun with it, but my primary job in life is making sure that this network is successful.
Yeah, my favorite show has got to be Wilderness to Table, though.
Isn't she the best?
She's a really good friend of mine.
He's biased because he's just, Bree's like his best friend. So
Bree, very good buddies.
I finally got to meet her in person at SHOT Show, and no, she's my best friend now. Just
Uh-oh.
She's the best. She's just this wonderful. As soon as I talked to her the first time on the phone, I thought, okay, no, we're going to be best friends. She is just this firewall of energy and thoughts and creative ideas and authenticity. And that's the kind of people we love here. I love, I always say, I believe now that Carbon TV has the largest library of female-driven outdoor content. That's sure, like I wanted to see that happen because females for so many years, they were kind of a supporting role or, didn't really get the attention they deserved. But when I see a strong, smart, credible, amazing female like that, it's like, what can we do to help you? That's what the world needs more of.
It's pretty cool that we can do that now, right? Like you think 20, 30 years ago, it was such an anomaly to see if there was a female, it was because she was there with her husband or boyfriend, right? Like really, like honestly, as a general rule, that was the case. And it's so amazing now that there's so much opportunity in that and such great content, right? Like it's such a great change in the industry. So let's touch on that with Carbon TV. So that new direction, that outdoor, and I've got some thoughts, but I want to hear your perspective on it and on, going this new direction, how that's evolved the network and what you guys do at Carbon TV.
Yeah, it's so much fun. And this is where I flourish. Every time people want me to talk about Carbon and what we're working on and kind of the new avenues, I just get so excited and I hope people never get tired of me getting up on my soapbox. But when I first started here, I didn't really even know what we did. And I'll be honest, I mean, that was, it's a big company and I was kind of just coming in going, I don't know. I don't really know what to do. But then it starts all making sense and it's all producer relationships, good content, and what are we doing moving forward? And, we definitely solved, the producer relationships and traffic and content. All of that is amazing. So now we've focused on being more diversified, more kind of multifaceted in the content library. I love that we have the biggest content library, but I want more that will have a crossover potential. So if somebody is watching content here and they, love, hunting, but maybe they also love aviation, or maybe they also love, fly fishing. I want to make sure that we have all of the content here for people to watch no matter what it is they're in the mood for that day. And we always make it free. We don't charge anyone to ever watch anything that we do here, which has been really, it's been a great business model. We are also moving into fast channel and connected TV distribution globally, which is wonderful. A lot of people in other countries, they don't have the same types of access to this type of content. So we've moved pretty rapidly into a global market with connected TV and fast channels. So that's been really fun. It's it's good for our producers. It allows them to have more of a rapidly expanding audience. And it's good for us. It puts us out there in front of a lot of new people and introduces the outdoors to people who maybe misunderstood it before.
And, I think, we talk about hunter heritage and about social license around hunting. And this is such a great, in my mind, such a great platform because somebody can come on to Carbon and be interested, like you said, in aviation or maybe in rock climbing, and maybe not even, be against hunting, but then like, you build that relationship with your consumer, your viewer, and they're like, oh, this is good content. And then they're like, well, what's about this wilderness to table stuff? And they, and there's that blend there. So, or like Laura Zara is a great example, right? Like, what she does, right? And I think these crossover brands that really are outdoor centric, but then are steeped in kind of the hunting heritage is really good for, the hunting, I guess, market, if you will, or social license around hunting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing is, just being open-minded. When Laura's obviously a very good friend of mine. I executive produce her show, Decivilized, which is killing it right now. It's amazing. For anyone who hasn't watched it, she tells you how not to die. So who wouldn't want to watch that? That seems like a pretty good life advice. But shows like that, we're just open-minded. If I see something come through and I'm like, oh, that hasn't been done before, let's invest into that. Or let's take a bigger look at, how that's going to, resonate with an audience that maybe wasn't ours before, a totally new demographic. So, the other thing that I really like is feedback. We listen to what people are saying. And, I have a brilliant team around me that is constantly saying, hey, even if it's one message, you don't think one message is going to make a big difference to a company. I'm telling you, it gets to me. I hear the feedback that people are saying, oh, I love this, or this doesn't make sense, or we need more of this type of content. We'll start looking for it. I want to make sure that nobody ever leaves Carbon TV with a bad experience. And so that kind of makes it really challenging and fun.
Yeah. So how do you do that for how many shows do you say you have on the network?
So we have over 250 shows right now.
How can you like that? That's a pretty big job.
It's a big job. Yeah. The trick to that job is having great people around me and making sure that, I've got, for example, Autumn Stowecki is my director of operations, and anyone who works with Carbon, they know Autumn. She's the most personable, kind, amazing outdoors woman. She loves the outdoors. And, producer relationships, it's getting back to people immediately when they need something. It's answering questions. Our developer team is so smart. Like when I tried to get on this podcast and I couldn't figure out how the computer thing works, that is why I have my developer team. They're so highly intelligent and they just help me with everything every day, but they're constantly paying attention to the user experience. So if somebody comes to Carbon and the user experience isn't perfect, I don't want that person to say, oh, well, I can get a better experience over here. So we're constantly investing into upgrading our system. It's all of these different people that we've stacked around me that really make the company what it is. And, I don't think there's any better way to be in life.
Very cool. That's awesome. I've got my Carbon TV all lined up and I'm going to be streaming for the next month straight here. There's so much great content.
It's great. I love it.
A lot of good content.
So let's segue a little bit. Let's talk. So aviation, you mentioned that a few times. So tell me, you're a pilot. I'm a pilot. So I want to hear, we're pilots. let's talk about our watch or about flying or something.
Rub it in.
Yeah. I've been a licensed pilot for about 20 years. And, aviation is one of those communities, kind of like the outdoor community where if you're in it, you love it and you're connected and you're dedicated to that. And I know, I mean, I used to, practice aerobatics, and I did an accelerated flight program out in Long Beach, and, experimental aircraft. I mean, I've done it and I love it. And I definitely don't do as much as I would like to now, but I see a major crossover section there. And I know that a lot of shows that are coming to us, there's a lot of aviation in there. Greg McHale, Wild Yukon, he flies himself around the Yukon, and I'm dying to go up and spend time with him and his family and, fly around. We have a show called Old Green Plane, where they take some, people up in this literally old green plane that was the guy's dad's plane back in the day. And they interview people in the sky, which, I mean, what better setting to have a one-on-one interview with a person than in a Cessna? And then we're bringing on a lot of other aviation shows, but I feel like this just further connects our audience to the demographic. It's such an easy crossover. It's so easy to see how people will they'll not just, oh, I am a pilot, but I've always wanted to be one, or I have an interest in that, or my dad was a pilot. There's this web that exists there, and I find it fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. I can relate to where you're coming from. It's interesting. I watched that episode, or at least partial. I didn't get through all of it, but I ran out of time. But I watched that episode with you in Old Green Plane. I think it was episode 7, season 1, episode 7. You were in that. That was pretty cool. I loved it.
So. Yeah, they're so much fun. How am I going to say no to that? I need to start saying yes. With this many shows, I do get a lot of invites to go do things with people and go hunting, and and I do actually go on quite a few of them. I want to do more, but that one, when they called to see if I would be on that show, I was like, I'm not saying no to that. That's incredible, and I support people who have cool ideas like that.
Yeah, I was actually disappointed that they didn't put you in the left seat. I'm like, come on, she's a pilot. Put her in the left seat. That's only fair. Come on.
I warned them not to. I said I might be a little, it's been a minute, but I think I'm going to get recertified. I think I'm going to get everything updated. We have another show that we're bringing on right now. It's female, and I'm very excited about this one. She is not just a pilot. She's an instructor. I mean, she's rated, in all the jets. I mean, she's just an amazing personality. So we're bringing her on as well. And I think that will be really good for people to kind of see, it's not all the same type of content. I think that, having it so multifaceted, so many different areas of content is going to be really valuable.
Very cool. Okay, just a couple of crazy ones. So, professional poker player, what's up with that? Come on.
Oh gosh. Oh boy, that was a different lifetime. This is the reason why the internet is like good and bad, because people can find out that yes, I was a professional poker player. That was, how hard it is to explain to your parents that's your life choice. I remember trying to explain to my mom and dad, like, oh no, this is going to be great. I've decided I'm going to play professional poker, and I did. And I did well with it, but I used it as a business. So I kept a notebook, with the cash games and notes on people. I had sponsors. I played the World Series 4 times. I mean, it was great. I had a great run, and it's a hard way to make an easy living, as they say. I got out of it pretty fast, but I don't play much anymore. I should start playing a little bit.
You might need to. You could brand it. That could be one of your shows.
Yeah, it's a terrible idea.
It's funny. Okay, let's talk hunting. So you talked about your first whitetail, your first experience and your first harvest, and biggest whitetail you've ever killed. What's your favorite hunt when you think back on, you've done so much now, and what hunt do you want to do? So, what's been the best, and where do you want to go? Tell me you're going sheep hunting, please.
Okay. Oh, I'm dying to go sheep hunting. I mean, obviously I lived vicariously through Jana, with this past season, and all of the sheep hunters, it is a major goal of mine. I know that that's a big commitment, and but it is possible. It's possible for those of us normal people to go do sheep, hunts now. So yeah, that's on the list. My favorite hunt. So I've only hunted with my dad one time in my life. He came with me early 20s, I was in my early 20s, and he shot a doe, but even though that to some people would sound very anticlimactic, right? It's like, oh, okay, that doesn't sound exciting. It's the only time I ever hunted with him. And, we got to harvest that doe together, sitting side by side. That always is the first thing that comes into my mind. Of all the hunts I've done around the world, major, amazing, ability to kind of hunt anywhere I want to, I always go back to, gosh, that was really cool to sit by my dad while he shot this deer and then we processed it together. But I think as we get older, we appreciate those moments a little bit more. I obviously love archery, mule deer hunting. It's a big thing. I have one, tattooed on my arm. Everyone sees it. I'm passionate about that. One thing that has changed though is I don't go on social media and talk a lot anymore about the hunts that I do, not because of any reason other than, man, I love my privacy. And, and when you've been in the public eye for this long, sometimes those hunts are more special if you don't have to talk about them, or if you can, if you want to, but you're not required. I shot my first deer off camera in Utah 3 years ago. And it was very special. Since I started my career, it was the only deer I've ever taken without a cameraman. Mm. And, I have it hanging, it's in my office over there. And, those, I think as we age, those moments of, wow, getting back to your roots. And this is why we do what we do. And this is what I love to do. And it's for me. It's not to show anybody, or to show it off. I think those moments become more precious.
Yeah, it's interesting. I find personally too that, hunting is such a primal experience, and obviously when you kill something, it's an intimate experience as well. And it's, I've taken cameras with me. I've not taken it. I've kind of done both, just recreationally, never professionally. And I just always find that the camera is getting in the way of the experience for me. And so I actually have a huge amount of respect for people that do it professionally, that can do it, because there's so much more going on. And for me, it's just about the experience and harvesting. And when you start waiting for the right shot and the right experience, and there's all these other things, and there's production, the deadlines, all that stuff. It just, so anyone that could do that, I have the utmost respect for them, and I can totally appreciate where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see both sides. I've been, for so long in this industry, every hunt that I ever did was documented and filmed. And the positive side is I get to relive those memories and go back and kind of revisit that, see where the shot hit, those things are great. Now, as I'm aging and getting a little older, if Jana and I, or Laura and I, if any of my friends go with me in the field, sometimes it's nice to be fully present and not be concerned about, capturing things or, making sure we have the right photo. But I'm on both sides of that fence. I also believe that the reason why we're doing what we do is to encourage other people to, have that voice and, put that information out there for people to learn from. So I think a balance is healthy. I do like my personal life. I don't put much about myself out there anymore. But I do also love running a network that enables other people to put their life out there. And we are the vehicle that provides that for them. They can put their content out there that they're creating, and I can give it to the masses. So, it's a beautiful balance.
Yeah, well said. And I also fully appreciate that. For me, when I'm out there with the camera, it's like, it's just a foreign to me. But for someone like yourself, it's an appendage. It's just part of what you do. You've been with it for so long. It's just part of how you operate. So it's a lot different for you than it is for me when I'm in the backcountry with a camera.
Oh, so. Yeah. I brought cameras before, and I don't even think. I'm like, all right, there's a bear or there's a lynx or whatever. And it's like, all right, get lined up. Oh, damn, camera. And it's just, it's tough. It's tough.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. When I'm calling lynx or whatever, I put a GoPro trying to face the call, and there's so many different directions the cat can come in. And I just don't even bother sometimes. It's tough. It really is.
That's incredible. I love lynx videos. I'm one of those where I'll watch it like 50 times. What an incredible animal.
Oh, I did get one, the one that I took last year. We set up the call. My buddy parked the snow machine because we'd just seen the tracks, had the call up. I put the rifle out and the cat was already on the call. And just as I'm lining up, he gets it on there. So I got the shot on camera. It's pretty cool. But yeah, that's about it. And it wasn't me that ran the camera.
Oh, that's so cool. You have to send that to me.
Sure.
I love these videos. It's
Sure.
incredible. Yeah, cameras have changed everything. They allow people to live vicariously who wouldn't have the opportunity. And I know a lot of people, sometimes we take it for granted that we have the opportunities to go spend time outdoors or to travel, or to have this life that we have. And, I never let that thought pass by without considering some people don't get to do these things. And we are providing a way for them to come into this world and experience it in their own way and to educate and inform them. So it's really part of the reason why I am so passionate about what I get to do every day. I just happen to have a path in life that led me to this company that, it's my dream job. It's my dream career. It's a huge, massive, amazing company. And I get to do this every day and to be a part of this with other people who are out there doing what they want to do every day, creating content and doing all their things. And then we all get to work together. And honestly, I just sometimes have to pinch myself because it's just such an incredible industry with good people and just such a fun company to work with.
Very cool. So let's transition a little bit, kind of in the same vein, but the work that you do, we talked a little bit, we touched on the not-for-profit stuff, so pass it on to outdoor mentors, and I know you're also involved with is it Mend on the Move? Do I have that correct? Is that correct?
Yeah, Mend on the Move.
So talk a little bit about your not-for-profits and then any conservation work that you're doing too, because I know conservation is really important to you as well. So let's touch on that for a bit.
Yeah, so I'm also on the board of directors for a company called Mend on the Move. So even though I don't really live in Michigan, my office is outside of Detroit. And Mend is an organization that employs women and empowers women who are coming out of abusive relationships. So a lot of times, a woman, if she, has kids or, life situation and she's coming out of a relationship that was difficult, it's hard for her to find a job. Sometimes they don't have a high school diploma. Sometimes they don't really understand how to get their life back on track. So Mend on the Move actually employs them as jewelry makers, and they use repurposed auto parts because of obviously Detroit is the auto capital. So a lot of the auto manufacturers and places where they get their products, they will donate that to the organization. These women put beautiful jewelry together that's actually really nice, and Mend sells that, and then it's a job for women to get back on their feet. We also empower them with GED educations, life coaches, career planning, and try to just kind of give women that extra opportunity. It's close to my heart. I know what it's like to, come out of a bad relationship and not really know what you're going to do. So, it's really good. It's outside of my normal space. Most of the time when I'm on a board or donating my time, it's towards the outdoors, but I also have a big heart for women who are going through a tough time. And then as far as the conservation organizations, for over 10 years now, I've been working with most of them in different capacities. I'm really proud. Carbon TV has partnered with a lot of them as video streaming partner for their trade shows, for Expo. We're the streaming partner for Expo coming up in Salt Lake City. We're the official video streaming partner for SHOT Show for the NSSF. So all of the video content that is created on behalf of the NSSF, we stream that through our platform. And the reason that happened was, censorship. If you put something on YouTube or somewhere else, you don't always know that people will have access to it. And Carbon TV is a safe place for industry-related video content.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So how does that work then? Like you guys, you're streaming for SHOT. So basically they're sending their customers to your platform or people that want to partake in the show and they're going there for the content. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's basically as they're creating the video content at the event, they upload it through our Carbon TV platform. And then we create a show page, we push it out to everybody. So anyone who can't make it to Expo or one of the shows, they can come to Carbon TV to find all of that video content perfectly organized. It's just kind of a nicer way of doing it instead of, tossing it on YouTube or somewhere. We make sure that people have free access to all of the video content for all of the trade shows.
Yeah, it's win-win too, right? Because it's reaching new customers that normally wouldn't be reached, and a whole bunch of other things. It's a brilliant idea. Love it.
Yeah, it's been. I'm really proud of it. Especially after working for the past decade with so many of these organizations, just finding a way for my company to be connected even further to theirs. It's a dream come true. It's wonderful.
Very cool. So what's on the agenda for Carbon TV? And for Julie McQueen, what's the next 10 years look like? You've done so much in the last 2 decades. Where do you go from here?
Oh, the next 10 years, man, that's going to be fun. I know that Carbon TV is scaling right now. I still consider us the biggest and the most dynamic, in the industry. So we're, like I said earlier, rapidly moving into global market with even more distribution. So that's a big part of my day right now. My day to day is, of course, I still run sales. We have a sales department because we do ad revenue. I'm still involved in new content acquisition, so all the new shows that are coming in, and then distribution. So finding ways for more and more people to always have access to what we're doing. It's a very fun company, and I would see us expanding into some different areas outside of, obviously, hunting and fishing will always be my my first love. But moving into some other areas, bringing on new types of content, because there's a lot of content creators out there who just don't have a good home. And that's what we do best. So that's very high up on my list. As far as me personally, I'll be here working.
That's awesome. So with the shows and stuff, like we ran into you down in Reno at the Wild Sheep Foundation's Sheep Week there. Do you every year you out working and meeting and building relationships and looking for new content, that sort of stuff, building new strategic partnerships? How does that look for you guys?
Yeah. I'm so happy trade show season's back. It's like a family reunion, but also the most stressful week of meetings for my whole year. So any of those events, Wild Sheep, or I did ATA SHOT Show. We have Expo coming up. I go, some of them I stack meetings all day, every day, and I maintain relationships with, partners, advertisers, producers, make sure that everyone has, all of that connection to the company that they need. Others, I go and I enjoy the show. I go to the booths and I talk to people, and I just genuinely love talking to people in this industry. It's like it's a family. And so this time of year is really busy for me, but in the best way possible. It's company growth, but also just this personal love for this community that I've known for so long.
Wow, that's awesome. Okay, so one last one for you before we wrap up here. What's your hunt plans for 22? Can you share anything with us, or can you talk about it for us?
I used to be one of these planning people where I would have it all scheduled out, a year in advance. And most of the hunts I do now, it's like 3 weeks ahead of time, and I, bail out and go do something. I do still draw some tags. I put in for a few draws, but a lot of what I do now has to be very flexible because of the company, because of the work. So what I would like to do, and I'm going to say it on here so that it's like out there. I would like for Janet to maybe take me on some hunts with her, to be honest, because we've always had so much fun over the years, and I love just going and documenting her in the field and being a part of that production process. That's kind of my it's like, oh, let me tag along and be a part of it, and like best friend, but also like, can I film? That to me is really fun to just experience that with other people who hold the tag. I don't even need to pull the trigger anymore. I've been so blessed and experienced so many wonderful things. I do try to do at least a few hunts for myself every year, but a lot of the time, if I have friends who have tags, I'll tag along and just be there and, pack the gear and kind of be behind the scenes in the background and never even mention that I was in the field. Because for me, that's where my heart will always be. It's just where it began, is that authentic love for being outside. That's how I grew my career. It's not because I ever killed the biggest deer or had the most successful hunting season. I didn't build my career on that. I built my career on genuinely loving the outdoors. And that's how I see it continuing in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you got to do that. That would be a fantastic. But you got to get involved somehow. You can't just be behind the camera. You have to. It'd be too much fun. That would be the funnest part. Would be the interaction between you two in the field, right? So
I know. Yeah, I'm gonna tell Jana we had this conversation, so she feels obligated to come with her.
Don't you have creative control over your people? You can just demand that you're on the show with her, right? So
I know. Yeah, I'm gonna put my foot down and just be like, "Oh, you have to invite me on 3 hunts this year." Yeah, I'm sure she'll really fall for that.
Well, I'm sure it wouldn't be too difficult to convince her. Awesome.
Yeah.
And you love spring turkey, right? You do a ton of turkey hunting, don't you?
I am a turkey fanatic. I'm obsessed. It's the only animal that I actually get physically like uncontrollable. I shake. I have a very difficult time with turkeys, but I've been obsessed. I have my Grand Slam. I every year devote turkey season. Nothing else matters. Like I love turkey season so much. And yes, I do plan on disappearing for weeks at a time during turkey season. And I can't explain it. I don't know why. I mean, everything else is still wonderful, but something about a turkey gobbling it like fills my soul.
That's what I've heard, and I've never hunted a turkey.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
Well,
I'm supposed to be in. Yeah, let's do that. I'm supposed to be hunting them this April with a buddy down in the Kootenays, but I've heard the same thing. Everybody says the same thing. Once you do it, you'll be hooked. Just like duck hunting. I didn't do that till about 5-6 years ago. And it didn't really appeal, and got out there once and like, oh, this is awesome. Now I've got everything. So that's what I'm afraid of with turkey hunting.
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's stay in touch on that, because you absolutely have to become a fanatic for turkey hunting.
Deal.
It's required.
Deal.
Yeah. Okay. Because I know a lot of places and people, and yeah, we'll get you set up, because there's nothing in the world like it. There's something about a turkey gobbling in the morning that it's like the reason why we're alive. It's
works
beautiful.
for me.
Very cool. All right. We've taken a lot of your time. I'm really grateful for you talking to us today. But before we go, anything you want to plug, anything, there's so much stuff that you're involved in personally. So if people want to check out your work, where do they go? What do they need to do?
Yeah. So, I mean, you can always find me online, Jules McQueen. I know my name's Julie, but most people call me Jules. So Jules McQueen anywhere online, but Carbon TV is everywhere. And we are always free. We have so much great content. So anyone who has, if you have an iOS or Android device, it's always free there. Just download the app. Or Roku, Amazon, Apple TV, Samsung, literally any type of device that you're streaming content through, you can just put in Carbon TV, find us there. And it's VOD, so it's video on demand on those. So you just choose what series or what show you want to watch. And it's always right there for people to enjoy. So I highly recommend everyone checking out Carbon TV. It's my life's work, and I'm really proud of it. But yeah, people can also find me on anywhere online, Jules McQueen.
Cool. Yeah, you're not hard to find for sure. A quick Google search, they'll track you down. Well, cool, Julie. I can't thank you enough for your time. It was fun to talk to you today. I knew it was going to be a great podcast, and just really appreciate everything that you do for our hunting and our conservation world, and just I guess for society in general. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and the invite to come on here and catch up with you guys.
and we're stealing all your guests off the show. It's like we've got, I think we've interviewed 5 or 6 Carbon TV guests or hosts, I guess.
You know, just send me a list. All of my friends love all of my friends, and so I would love to see my friends talk to you guys too. I love that.
Yeah, Bree's
Awesome.
supposed to be coming up here in May for a bear hunt with me and our pen pals. So,
and I think Bree and I are going. She's taking me lobster diving this year. So,
oh yeah, she wants to take me. That's what she wants to do. Yeah. She wants to do that with me as well. I'm like, yeah, you don't want me in a swimsuit.
Oh yeah, no. I told her, I was like, now that you've said those words out loud, I'm going for sure. And then
so we got you committed to 2 things: a hunt with Jana, and you're going lobster fishing with Bree.
And with Bree, absolutely. That's right. Yes.
Awesome, Julie. Thanks again, and have a great weekend.
Okay, thank you guys.